Joining me now is Ned Hibbert, and Ned Hibbert has another story that's one of these stories that, again, is out of this world.
Yeah, Jim, you know, Houston, of course, is the home to Mission Control, so most of us who live here think we have a pretty good grasp of the history of the lunar landings. But leave it to an author named Carol Mersch to tell us something we probably didn't know, something of biblical proportions. It's a tale that begins in the office of Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell.
When I was leaving his office during that trip, I noticed a black and white photo on the wall of his office. And when I asked him about it, he said that he was handing a small packet of Bibles to Reverend John Stout, that he had landed the first Bible on the moon. Well, he said it rather matter-of-factly, and it wasn't matter-of-fact at all to me.
You'd never heard of this?
I had never heard of that story from anyone else, and apparently Mitchell had not told that story before. It was not widely known. And in early 2006, Mitchell arranged for me to have one of the Bibles that landed on the moon, and they were microfilm Bibles. Due to the size and weight restrictions on the Apollo aircraft, they could only carry 18 ounces in their personal preference kits, which was 4 by 6 inches. And on that microfilm was all 1,245 pages of the King James Bible.
And that one right there has been to the moon?
This one landed on the moon.
On?
Apollo 14 took this to the surface of the moon.
That would have been February 5th, 1971.
February 5th, 40 years ago this month.
40 years ago this month.
Yes, he landed on the moon.
When you started looking into this story, which you'd never heard before, you found a treasure trove of backstory here.
Yes. I discovered that Apollo 14 wasn't the first time that Reverend Stout and the Apollo Prayer League had attempted to land a Bible on the moon. The quest to land the Bible on the moon was born out of the fire that took the lives of the Apollo 1 astronauts, Gus Grissom, Roger Chaffee, and Ed White. Ed White was a very all-American religious guy, and during Gemini 4, he carried in the left leg of his spacesuit a gold crucifix, a St. Christopher medal, and the Star of David. Before his death, he had told a reporter that if he got to the moon on Apollo 1, he planned to carry a Bible with him. His death had a profound effect on Reverend Stout, and he vowed that he would see a Bible landed on the moon in Ed White's name. The first microfilm Bible went up on Apollo 12, only due to an error in stowage, it was stored on the command module and never landed on the moon. So with that, Reverend Stout got a larger group of Bibles and asked the Apollo 13 crew to take it to the moon. And to present those Bibles to the Apollo 13 crew, he was accompanied by a conservative young congressman by the name of George H.W. Bush. And as everyone knows, there was an onboard explosion on Apollo 13, and so they returned to Earth with the Bibles without ever landing.
But what is the significance of sending a Bible to the moon?
Through the years, the Bible has crossed many continents, many countries, many distances. And it was not unnatural then that the Bible be carried to another celestial body.
Actually, perhaps most surprising is that it took 40 years for this story to really get out. Here's Mersch's book. It's called The Apostles of Apollo. You can dig into the details from the Seen on TV page of our website, myfoxhouston.com.